So for your fruit cake, you'll be needing 2 cups of cake flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, half cup of red cherries, chopped red cherries. You can mix it up with the green cherries for a more beautiful look. And you're going to be needing 2 cups of dried fruits, that is raisins. If you can notice, my raisins and cherries are not that much because I'm not a fan of too many fruits in my cake. So for your own preference, you can use 2 cups of the raisins. For this, I'm using about just a half cup of the raisins. So I soak this in orange juice overnight. So usually people use like alcohol for it to last longer, but I don't use that. I use fresh fruit juice, like maybe orange juice, to soak mine overnight. So, and then I have my black treacle, 1/4 cup. I have 4 whole eggs, and I have half cup of light brown sugar. You can still use the dark brown sugar. And I have 1 cup of granulated sugar. So you can use the dark brown sugar, like in my ebook I even use only the granulated sugar. It just depends on your preference, because this black treacle and the brown sugar will change the color of your cake. So if you want it looking that beautiful, like vanilla look fruit cake, you wouldn't need to add the treacle and the brown sugar. And you need 250 grams of unsalted butter, but I'm using margarine, the usual Siemens butter margarine, because that's all we have. That's usually much easier to access here and affordable. So I use that because I know most people use that. So I want you to know that it's going to work out fine. And I'll be needing 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. So for my foreign students, you can use butter. If you use 250 grams of butter instead of margarine. So what we're going to first do is cream our butter and sugar together until it is light and fluffy. Okay, so I'm just going to add this into my mixing bowl. You can always do this with your hand whisk, which will also work out very beautiful, but it's just that it takes more time. So I'm going to be using my hand mixer. So I'm going to be creaming my butter and sugar on high speed. So you can see it has doubled in size and it's so light and fluffy. This should take you about 2 to 3 minutes. I'm mixing on high speed. You can see so light and fluffy. Color has changed to blue yellow color. So now I'm going to gradually start adding my egg, about 1 at a time. Adding the last egg. So I'm going to scrape in the bottom and the sides and ensure everything is mixing properly. Like I said, all this can be done with your manual whisk. So I'm adding in my vanilla extract. And let me use a teaspoon for. So I'm using a half teaspoon here, so I'll be putting this about 4 times. combining my flour. So if you're using unsalted butter, at this stage you'll be adding salt, but about half teaspoon. But since I'm using salted margarine, I'm not adding salt. So I'm adding in my brown sugar, my flour, and my baking powder. You said we're using 2 teaspoons, and I have half teaspoon here, so I'm using this 4 times. So preferably, you can cream your brown sugar with your granulated sugar and your butter. You can do this 2 ways, or you can just combine it like I'm doing. So I do it 2 ways. But I think the best is creaming it with your butter. So I'll combine my dry ingredients together. So now finally I will put the wet ingredients. Add my black treacle. So I'm just going to mix this a little. So before I start adding in my dry ingredients, I want to get my bowl, the bottom and the sides. Now I'm going to start adding in my dry ingredients. I'm not going to use my mixer to mix it. Sorry. I'm adding in like half times. So I'm just going to use my spatula to fold it in gently. Do not overmix. Don't worry, everything will come together. So I'm adding in my remaining flour. This do not overmix. Keep folding it in. So I'm scraping the sides and the bottom. You see it's coming together. You can see I'm still having some patches of white flour at the bottom. That's why you see as I'm scraping, it's coming up. So I want to scrape the sides properly. So I'm just trying to ensure I scrape the bottom too. So at this stage, I can come in with my whisk and just try to, the whisk is like a mixer, but a mixer that you can control. So to avoid over mixing, at this stage we want to add our cherry. Add our cherries. And then our fruits. So I'm adding in my fruits. Like I said, I'm not a fan of fruits, so I wouldn't want it too much. But if you're making it for someone, generally fruit cake is supposed to be loaded with so much fruits. I don't know, I'm just not a fan. So just gently mix it up together. So I'm going back to my spatula because it's easier for me to scrape both sides and bottom with it. So I don't want to overmix. I just want to combine everything properly together. So I think I'm good to go. As you can see, my butter is ready. So you can, I have 2 pans here that I've lined with my parchment paper. I taught how to do this, where I taught how to line or grease your pan. A lot. You can check for more details. So I have my 2 loaf pans here. I'm going to be distributing my batter evenly into this pans. So you can make this in a 8-inch square, like I said. It's just based on preference. You can bake this in 2 loaf pans. So I did line them like I said. So I'm just going to be hitting this on my work surface to remove excess bubbles. So I'm going to be baking this at 170 degrees Celsius. So I've already preheated my oven even before I started working, even before I started putting my butter and sugar, because you need to bake in a preheated oven. Not that when you're ready to bake, you just start on your oven at that moment. No, the oven needs to be preheated. So let's get baking.